Footy and Frothies, we've got the finals kicking off this weekend. Aidan and Daggy are with you on a magnificent day in Sydney town to get stuck into the four big games this weekend. Both had a bit of a few dramas with illness and such over the last few days, so no review this week, but I will mention a third straight spoon for the West Tigers, and Spoon Bowl did live up to all the hype in terms of what a shit show it was, Dana.
Yeah. What if they converted the tries? There could have been like 100 points or something in the game.
Yeah.
So it was everything we were hoping for.
It was chewed up. All the ref referrals were gone in the first 15 minutes. There was
something like that.
Bins. There was dumb shit from both teams. Ultimately, Sevo and co managed to bully their way over the kids. So I guess kudos for them for being less shit. Some other good performances. Jerome Hughes looked fantastic. Not really very, very quickly on the last round because I've spent very little time doing some proper work on it. But any other takeaways off the top of your head? Apart from the Bulldogs?
The biggest takeaway is the no try in the Dolphins game. And it's going to cost the team a finals.
Yeah, it almost feels inevitable that it will.
Yeah.
And for Annesley to come out and defend it since.
Adam G not getting a game.
I again don't understand what he's done. Obviously been a nose all year. He must just tell him to fuck off or something. Like he must just
he must have done something.
But maybe he just doesn't listen to their bullshit.
Yeah.
Does what he wants to do.
The boys, the NRL refs boys club is back in full swing.
Yeah, only took a year or two to get it back, didn't it? But
yeah,
there we go. Anyway, we'll get stuck into round. Yeah, are you right there, Dan? A bit lost.
Yeah, I was about to yell out to the missus. She's looking for a phone and it's in my hand.
Oh, okay, handy.
But she's disappeared now.
You should message her and let her know. All right. Do you want a sec?
Nah, she'll come back.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get stuck into this. This is good radio / YouTube vision. But we'll kick off on a Friday night at Bluebet with Panthers and Roosters, where at the moment, we'll go through the teams. For Penrith, lining up Edwards, Taruva, Tungo, Alamote, Tuo, Luai, Nathan Cleary is named, Leota, Kenny, Fisher-Harris, Sorensen, Martin, Yeo all start. Trent Talau gets the 14 spot, Lindsay Smith, Liam Henry, Luke Garner. A Ford-heavy bench. Obviously, Luke Garner could probably cover some outside back spots if needed. For the Chooks, Tedesco, Tupou, Swali, Manu, Young, Keary, Sandon Smith at 7. Spencer Leniu starts. Connor Watson at 9. Collins, Crichton, Tupanua, Butcher, Docker Clay, White, Wong, Terrell May make up the bench. We've got, just looking at extended bench, Dane Laurie is named there. And for any potential changes, obviously Schneider on extended ones as well. Penrith have won 9 straight against the Chooks. But what are you making of this game? And is there any key talking points to come out of it? Or going into it, more importantly?
I think the biggest point, you mentioned it already, it's the 9 straight that the Panthers have already got against the Roosters. Roosters only side in the top 8 to not beat a top 4 side this season as well. So I don't see that changing. Pretty much everything just says that Panthers will win this with or without Cleary.
Do they just hope Cleary gets through dinner suitish and just kicks and just takes a bit of pressure off Luai?
I could almost see Schneider coming like onto the bench type thing. And
that's why I mentioned Laurie as well, one of those two potentially coming on.
Yeah, and if they're up, he only plays 60 at most if they've got it comfortably.
I think so. Key matchups, the two actual state of origin fullbacks for New South Wales this year. Don't know if Edwards has been at his best since he's come back from injury. I would almost suggest he might still be carrying one. Tedesco almost the hope of the side now for the Roosters.
Yeah, pretty much. It's it's going to be their back 5. They've still got a very strong back 5.
Yeah.
They plenty of meters there, a lot of try potential. I just don't think that they're going to have what it takes to get over Penrith, which will be their last game at Penrith Stadium.
Yeah, I think you could make a strong case that almost the bench and the forward pack still favours the Chooks as well. I think they have to try and out physical and bash Penrith out of the game. It's almost their only hope, take the emotion out. Ironically, because I think the more physical you might fire up some of the Penrith players, but try and hit them into submission and make Penrith chase. And I don't know if they can without Sanders Smith. I think there's a concerted effort to sort of shut Teddy down through the middle, and if they do that, they will probably win. You mentioned a 9 straight, and I think they do get the job done here. There's scenarios where I'd be almost tempted to tip the Roosters because, again, Penrith weren't that great last week, but we see often they've bounced off a flattish round 26 or 27 game in the past 4 years and come back pretty dominantly. So I think they'll be ready with all systems go this week. You're saying convincingly, you think in the end?
Well, yeah, I think you're right in terms of the forward battle, and it'll start off close, but I think Penrith are just they've already, across the board throughout the 80. I think they'll be fine. To be honest, I think their biggest issue would be if Cleary played and he got injured during the game.
Yeah,
similar to what happened against Melbourne, where they play better if they know the game plan of Cleary's not playing this week, so this is how we're playing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So if he goes, even with, as I said, we both think that bench changes, but if he goes down 20 minutes or even 60 minutes in, depending on the score line, and I think that's when they lose their way, like most sides do if you lose a halfback during a game.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much the only way I see the Roosters winning. But you are right. It's a finals match. Early on, it's going to be a big forwards battle. And the Roosters, if Warrior-Hargreaves was there as well, I would have given him a bit more of a chance. But in saying that, it's the type of game that he'll do something silly and end up in the bin for 10.
You mentioned that as well. They've got Ashley Klein, and I don't think the Roosters have the best record there either. I know it's not something we ever hope to preview, but it's a fact.
Yeah.
Another stat, just looking through here, Teddy has never won a game at Bluebet Stadium. How's that?
Oh, there you go.
All right. Well, any final thoughts here?
No, I think, 13 plus. I'm going to back it in. 13 plus as long as Cleary gets to a point where they want him to in the game.
4 o'clock Saturday is the next final as the Storm host the Sharks down there. Pappenhausen named it 1. I believe they're quietly confident he'll be right. Fa'alongo did pick up a bit of an injury last week as well, so obviously not in the squad. Warbrick on the wing, Howarth, Meaney in the centres, Coates, Munster, Hughes, the halves. Nelson starts at 8. Grant, King, Bloor, Katoa, Luero. Benches Wishart, Welsh, Kamakamika and Alec McDonald. For the Sharks, they welcome back Oric and Kafusi, which pushes Royce Hunt back to the bench. But their lineup looks like this. Kennedy, Katoa, Ramian, Iro, Mulatalo, Trindle, Hines, Rudolph, Brayley, Kafusi, Nickera, Wilton, McGuinness. Atkinson at 14, so no thoughts entertained about any changes to the halves. And in fairness, Nico was quite good last week. Williams, Hunt, Talakai around that out. I think another physical forward clash, another big physical game actually, but is there any hope here for the Sharks who, again, don't have the greatest top 8 record?
I actually think it's not like with confidence or anything, but I think the Sharks can put up a good fight. They beat them earlier this year down there?
Or was that the one they lost in the last second? No, they did. They beat them.
Yeah.
I meant to do all these notes, but
no. I thought it didn't. Yeah, just doubted myself there for a second. We've pretty much said all year the Sharks have a great side, but they just had that lull period massively in the middle. They put a couple of good performances back to back, so they're going to be going and flying. Can they keep up with Melbourne for the 80? Because Melbourne will play the 80, and Melbourne play finals football very well.
Yes. They probably pace themselves better than anyone, really.
Yeah.
They don't push too hard when they don't need to in terms of getting a proper 80 minutes of finals footy. I think Jack Howarth coming to this team has been fantastic. They've kept him Newcastle are happy with him, and he's been outstanding since he's really solidified that centre spot there and shored up an edge that was perhaps a concern with Warbrick outside, but their combination's been great. Coates looked fine coming back in last week. And I know, there's Grant Anderson fans out there as well that have made cases, and just having Wishart on the bench as well. They've just got so many points of attack. I think they get the job done. I think I can see the Sharks getting frustrated. I think if they haven't scored 12 or 18 points by half hour, they get a bit desperate, and they still, even last week, they still had the outside backs still do some dumb shit. They still try and push passes here and there, but I think they're up for this. But I think it's a big step for the team that is obviously rightfully $2.20 to win the comp at the moment. So I think I'm going to say 1 to 12 for the Storm. Jerome Hughes, Dally M award coming this week as well. He'll lead them around and get the job done. And I can see some forward tries actually coming here. I'm going to go with Josh King scoring. Josh King or Nelson to score sometime during the afternoon.
Yeah. Well, I'm the same as you. I got Storm 1 to 12, but I got like a sub 40 points type game, like 4 tries to 3 type situation. I think you're 100% right in terms of the frustration side of things, and that's where the blowout could happen. If Storm get 2 or 3 early ones, Sharks will be in a bit of trouble. But if, say, that 30-minute rolls around, and this is the type of game it could still be 0-0 at 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's got to give the Sharks hope.
Absolutely.
It's what they do from that point. And you've already mentioned it, but the Wishart Atkinson, both coming off the bench, I think they both can have a big role for either side. We've seen it several times this year with Wishart and how amazing he is off the bench. But even Atkinson, last couple of games, he's been playing quite well.
Yeah, he's been outstanding.
And he's playing that similar role to Wishart where he can come on in the halves, in the backs. It's just that we've mentioned it before. That utility factor is, some of these utilities are now worth more than your starting 13 players in today's game because of how valuable they are to a team.
Look at it. Yeah, Connor Watson for the Roosters before the injuries. I'm just trying to through this top 8. Yeah. No, it's about actually. The rest of them are. Well, they take turns.
The Panthers are like a Dane Laurie or something like that plays multiple. Yeah.
And then Bulldogs have churned through quite a few, but those ones definitely.
So it's I actually think this will be a really good game. I think it'll be the closest game of the week.
Yep. No, that's fair shout. The Saturday night game, 10 to 8 from Townsville, is the Cowboys hosting the Knights. Drinkwater at fullback. Felt, Holmes, Vilea, Tuolangi, Dearden, Clifford is the back 7 there. McLean, Robson, Tamalolo, Lukey, Nanai, Cotter. Bench is McIntyre, Edwards, Finiaki, and Neem. For the Knights, they're unchanged from last week, actually. Ponga, Sharp, Gagai, Best, Marzu, Cogger, Crossland, Saifidi, Brayley, Thompson, Frizzell, Lucas, Elliott. The bench is Gamble, Croker, Hetherington, Jones. Kai Pearce-Paul is on the extended bench. So, pending clearance from his nasty gash, we might see him as well. Look, I think they're making up the numbers here, the Knights. They've done well enough to even scrape in here. And the Cowboys have, since Jake Clifford's gone into halfback, have found quite a bit of form. Not afraid to promote the ball. It's just made everything a bit more direct. It's taken the kicking pressure off the other two halves. Well, Dearden and Drinkwater, I should say, especially when you don't get a lot of compliments out of Robson from that point of view. I think this might be a blowout. They'll be up for it, up at home, warm weather. And by the way, just having a look through the weather, there's a bit of drizzle around everywhere, but I don't think it's going to have a big effect on any games. And thankfully, none are at Allianz, so it can't fall apart. So, I think 13 plus. It blows out late. And a couple of tries for Kyle Felt in his 3rd straight farewell at Townsville or whatever it's been. Feels like he signs off there every week. So I think he scores a couple, and Tom Dearden comes away with the man of the match, out physical and outplayed to wrap up the Knights season. I don't really have a lot more to say.
Yeah, I think you're right there. The Knights played their final last week to get into the finals. They haven't won a game against the side, in that 5 to 8 bracket this season. I don't see that one changing this week. Almost the exact opposite of the notes from the last game. This will probably be the highest scoring game of the round, and the Cowboys will have, 3/4 of those points. That change in the halves has definitely helped massively, and the downside for the Cowboys is when they win this, it's going to be the travel in the following weeks that's going to hurt them the most. But I don't see the night short of a Ponga 5, 3 tries and 2 assists or something like that. I just don't see the Knights scoring enough points to even come close.
Yeah, I will mention the Knights' hopes here. Probably, obviously, Dulay and Ponga, but those outside backs, so Sharp, Gagai, Best, can produce points. And for a long period this year, the defence of the Cowboys' outside backs did feel washed. So if they can make them chase, they can leak. I mean, even against Melbourne, you can see that they can leak 18 points very, very quickly, and all of a sudden, whole different dynamic. And that's probably the hope. And I think almost what I'd be encouraging if I was involved with the Newcastle setup, just spread early, try and isolate some of those bigger bodies on Holmes and co early on, and stand them up and look to go hunting out there rather than try and play more traditional finals footy. I think.
If anything, the whole thing is to don't act like a finals game.
Exactly.
Yeah, is their best chance.
Todd Smith appointed as referee ahead of Mr. G. Cowboys have won the last 3 against the Knights, and the Knights have not won in Townsville in nearly a decade. And we'll wrap up with a rematch from a couple of weeks ago, the Bulldogs and Seagulls, with Josh Adokar electing to sit out this week, with Jarrell Skelton staying on the wing there. From Accor Stadium, Tonna Tracy, fullback there, Carraz, Sherry, Crichton, Skelton, Burton, Sexton, King, Marnie, Hughes, Kickow, Preston, Salmon. The bench is Hayward, Moran, Hayes, and Curran. For Manly, Turbo, Talau, Cooler, Garrick, Hopawate, Brooks and Terry Evans, Paseka, Croker, Lodge, Olakawatu, Lawton, Drojovic. The bench is Ben Turbo, Josh Alloway, Ethan Billymore, and Nathan Brown. Thoughts on this one? Obviously, there was the big score last time these two met, and again last week. The Bulldogs conceded 40. I know they're spruiked as the best defensive team in the comp, but I think they average doubles against top 8 teams.
Yeah, so the Bulldogs are 4 wins from 7 games against top 8 sides.
But have conceded points in a lot of them.
But yeah, they've been, and I actually went through some of those games. One of them was the Sharks game. They lost. They beat the Sharks when Nico just was in the middle of that terrible run, couldn't convert, where they were outscored. And one of those other wins was against the Roosters, where Dom Young got sent off in the 20th minute or whatever it was, and they still almost lost that one, and a fair few points scored in that game. So yeah, the Bulldogs, I think it just took till late in the season. We didn't realize how easy of a draw they had. You can only bet the teams in front of you, but they done that exactly that. They won.
And I think subconsciously, when when I sit down and look at the strength of the draws at the start, you have in your head, okay, Bulldogs are one of the bottom teams, so the draw must be harder. So, but then looking back, you go, okay, in hindsight, XYZ didn't perform that well, so the draw's a little bit cozier than the perception might be in your head.
But if you can win 11 of 13 against the bottom 8, there's a good chance you're making the 8.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
So they done what they needed to do. Manly, though they leaked in a lot of points, is Tom Trbojevic the most valuable player in terms of if he's playing, your side gets X amount and stops X amount? Feels like Tom sets or scores 2 tries a game and stops 2.
When you look at both sides of the ball, probably.
Yeah. So, and they're getting him back. And that's almost enough for them to get the win last week. So Manly also haven't lost a game against sides 5-8 this year, so I can see them going and getting this one again. This will be. I don't think it'll be the blowout, but it was a few weeks back. But I think Manly will win fairly comfortably.
I feel like we'll know Bulldogs' fate by the hour mark, and that I don't think it'll be positive, to be honest. And I sat here, put my hand up, I sat here and thought they're on track to be a grand final team.
Yeah.
This last month has definitely dented that hope, and they're on the right track. Obviously, it's been a great year, and they've got some decent. They're actually going out looking for size, and I think they'll pick up some other middle forwards in addition to the ones they have already. Heading next year,
that's been their issue the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
They don't have the size, and sides have actually just gone stuff it. Let's have our big boys just belt the crap out of them.
Yeah.
Let's not worry about 80 minutes. If we can belt the crap out of them 20 in, half the job's done. And
that's a good point at Paseka and Lodge starting here. I think they're just going to try and hammer that and then get the ball out to Halomi and hammer his edge for a bit. Ooh. Talk amongst yourselves. My Black Plague resurfaces. It's, I think DC, you look at a DC Turbo, you'd want in any team in the world to get home in a finals game, and I think they do it here. Good luck to Luke Brooks playing his first finals game in nearly 200 first grade games, I suppose.
It's over 200.
Has he played 200 games?
Yeah, I think it was
155 last year.
No, I thought I saw something. He's got the record now at 220 something.
Is that many? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to him anyway. He's been playing good footy. He's had a good month, actually.
I can't remember the name of the player that the record he's just beat, but it was a Tigers player who broke the record in 2005. So last time this happened, that individual went on to win a grand final.
200. It is 205 games.
So there you go.
And I think out of the I did see the top list. I think 4 of them were Tigers. But I think Mark O'Neill might have been on that list, and there was like Scando and a few others like that. So
they all won the comp when they broke their hoodoo.
Give them strength. Manly have won 10 of their past 11 against the Dogs as well. So yeah, not much to add here. I think Turbo is the one everyone will be raving about, but there'll be some good footy played around him come the end of this, and then they will head to who does that leave him with? So what's a crossover here again?
Honestly, no idea.
Perfect.
Because every time you look at one of them online, it seems to be different. Probably should have just checked the NRL's website because that would have been the one that would have been the most accurate. How do you think Turbo goes though? While I quickly try and look for this,
I think he'll go fine.
He's going to be needled up. By the sounds of it, it is off-season surgery. Obviously, I think they take him off if they're good.
Yeah, they'll hopefully try and get 60 out of him, as I said.
Yep.
And he won't, being the sort of player he is, he won't be looking to protect it, I don't think. He's not going to try and nurse himself through the game. They might try and nurse around him.
Yeah. So, winner of Cowboys Knights will play the loser of Storm Shark.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, Bulldogs.
So Manly heads to take on the Chooks.
So pretty much, unless Melbourne lose, both games will be in Sydney next week. You would say Allianz and CommBank most likely.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Panthers decide to go.
No, I don't think they get a choice. Unless they go to CommBank, sorry. They can choose.
No, they would choose CommBank. I'm just saying, but if it's Panthers Bulldogs, you could see that at, what do they call it now?
Allianz.
No, the bigger one.
Accor. Yeah, okay. Let's meet one of those three.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Panthers Bulldogs.
They probably I think they probably do go.
They would sell CommBank out comfortably. They could look to go bigger.
I think they could go to Accor, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Sharks playing either Cowboys or the Knights. You would assume they play that one at Allianz.
And got you really excited for this weekend, apart from the obvious finals footy. It'll be a different brand. We'll get to really see some of the men from the boys, I suppose.
I'm just glad we didn't get the spoon, to be honest. We ended up beating the Souths on the ladder as well, so it's pretty good considering the majority of my family is either like a Tigers or a Souths fan. So
Geez,
yeah,
happy
good way
times
to
all through your
you
household.
know, yeah, that Friday night last week, that with the that amazing meat raffle to go on top of it, it was a great great
Good,
Friday.
good meat. There's good meat from where they get their
Not wrong.
their raffles.
My biggest thing will be, how does Hughes? I've had this number earlier, but when was the last time the Dally M won the comp? I'm trying to remember who it was. I did have it up
Was it
earlier.
Thurston?
And pardon?
Was it Thurston?
Like it was a while ago. Whoever it was,
Yeah,
it's
it's
a while
been
ago.
while.
It's been like a curse.
I reckon it was maybe, when did they win it? 2017 or 15? I reckon it might have been Thurston when he drew with, which is longer ago.
What drew with Hayne? That was 14.
When did he draw with
Wasn't
Robbie Farah? Was that the three-way or something?
I'm trying to another one
Come on.
that I had it up earlier and I've just naturally forgot
Teddy
who it was.
for the Chooks. Did they win in 2019?
Yeah, Dally M winners. Here we go.
Probably
Yeah,
Cam.
2019. So it was Tedesco.
Yeah, Cam Smith. Did Melbourne win the comp 2017?
Yeah, and Thurston. So it's only been 3 times in the last 10 seasons it's happened. So with that happening, it's will it happen again? Will it? You would have loved to have some odds on him at the start of the year to be the Dally M and Clive Churchill. That's for sure.
Unfortunately, that's out the window these days.
Yeah,
but he definitely would. I think it'd be $1.10 to win it this year. We will be doing the Daggy M Awards next week, I hope. Surprise, Dana. But we'll be doing that. Well, we've only got 2 games really to preview as well next week. We'll talk about all of this in the next few weeks. If you're up for it, we've got to do some season reviews, but I'm going to put that back a little bit with everyone being a bit under the weather at the moment. Awards coming up. What else have I got to plug? So award show, as we head into finals, we'll have more time, so we'll review the bottom 8.
The tipping comp.
Tipping comp, PCTC tipping. Congratulations to Aaron Tees, who won that pretty comprehensively, actually. And our own friend of the show, I suppose now, Barney, picked up the Champions League trophy there from head-to-head playoffs. So well done to him. And
he's just started the NFL one. So if anyone's an NFL fan, I don't know how many games have already been in, but there is another comp that's just started. Yeah, so it's not too late to join that one. Even the EPL, with how hard the EPL is, they're only 3 games into that. So I'm sure if somebody wanted to join in, that they could. It wouldn't be too hard to make up the numbers there. With 10 rounds a game and how bloody hard it is to get a solid score in that competition.
Yeah.
So plenty of tipping out there.
Check that out, PCTC Sports Tipping. It's on all platforms now, so you can get it Instagram, Facebook, and Threads, I believe. They've racing ones in full swing. You're a bit late for that as we get into spring, but it's not too late to subscribe to show us your tips on YouTube. We're flying into spring. Plenty of winners last week as well, so that's always nice as we soldier towards the Melbourne Cup Carnival now. Only, what's that, about 7 weeks, 8 weeks away. So looking forward to that. We've got finals footy to get through first. We'll dwell on that a bit more as we get past or closer to the October long weekend. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Dana.
All good.
And we'll chat again next week. Take care.
Yeah, sounds good.